Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Another crazy week. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Holy smokes. Right on the heels of my HELOC video last week, and came across this article that had to do with Freddie Mac and stimulus money and all the things. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of a crazy conversation. So last apparently, hold on. There we go. Technical difficulties. Sorry about that. So last month, apparently in the dead of night, probably wasn't dead of night, but they kind of slipped it in right around April 16th. Freddie Mac applied, put in an application to become to offer home equity loans to FHFA. Nobody knows about this. It's kind of gone under the wire, but it got on my radar just a few days ago. I started researching this, and it's kind of scary. It's a little bit infuriating, a little bit heated about this whole topic, and it's not really known about anyone. Nobody's really talking about it, but it's coming, and I wanted to have a conversation about it, dig into some articles that honestly blew my mind, that this is even being discussed, having flashbacks to the financial crisis, and I wanted to dig into that. So because I'm so heated, because I just can't believe the stuff that I'm reading in the media about this particular program that Freddie Mac wants to roll out, I'm not bringing on one guest, but I'm bringing on two, because this is pretty meaty stuff that I'm excited to dig into. And I'm going to bring them on here. Let me just get all set up with things. So first guest, I'm going to reach down to the good old state of Texas, down in Austin, Texas, where if you crack an egg on a sidewalk right now, you're going to have a fried egg. So all the way down from Texas, Angie Fumata.
Hey,
What's
hey
up?
y'all.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. It's going to be a juicy one today.
Oh, it's going to be juicy. It's going to be spicy. And that's why I'm bringing on my spicy friend, all the way down from the dirty Jers, down from northern New Jersey, but we won't hold that against her. So come on, Jackie Baker.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we are.
How are you, Jen?
Good. We got like the dream team going on.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is going to be fun. I love when Jen's in a spicy mood. This is going to be a good one.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Oh, yes.
So, guys, this I forwarded you these articles, and you guys had no idea, just like I had no idea that this stuff was, even a thing. That this was even something that could be possibly thought of. And as I'm reading through these articles, I'm doing this research, I'm digging into it. I'm thinking, is this even in the Twilight Zone? Like, is this something that's even, like, I couldn't even believe what I was reading, because I felt like we were flashing back to the financial crisis of 2006 part 2, right? Like, it's just, it's absolutely bonkers. So let's dig right in, because I get so much to cover. Let's do it. Let's start the conversation, because I want to get into the article that kind of started this whole journey. Let's see here, pull this up here. So came across this article in the Financial Times, and it's the mortgage reform that could unleash the next big U.S. stimulus. Sounds encouraging. So, okay, this is interesting. So this article, here's the first clue that something is going sideways. The writer of this article is Chief Executive Meredith Whitney. Now, Meredith Whitney, if anyone has watched any other of my live streams, has been dubbed, I guess, ladies, dubbed, I guess would be the term, the Oracle of Wall Street. She was given that title by Bloomberg, because they said she predicted the financial crash. This is the same woman, guys, that also said that young men are going to be the leading cause of the next financial housing crash. If you remember that article from a few weeks ago.
Yep, remember that very well.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So she, and actually I've got a bunch of articles, but this article in particular kind of gets into the meat of it, and I wanted to kind of dive into this one first. And so she writes this article, and it sounds like too good to be true right out of the gate. What if I told you there could be an unprecedented stimulus injection into the U.S. economy that would cost the government nothing and not add not $1 to the national deficit? Sounds interesting. Tell me more. As early as this summer, the proposed moves would begin to unleash almost $1 trillion into consumers' wallets. By the autumn, it could be on its way to $2 trillion. Last month, the government-sponsored mortgage finance agency Freddie Mac filed a proposal with its regulator, FHFA, to enter into the secondary mortgage market, otherwise known as home equity loans. This was a smart move by Freddie. Was it? We'll see. And the FHFA will do a lot of good to approve it. Despite the more than $32 trillion in equity on homeowner balance sheets, a very, very little of it has been tapped through home equity loans. $32 trillion.
That's a lot of money.
Oh yes, that's a little scary.
Okay, so
Fair.
but I feel like one of those Ginsu knives commercials, But wait, there's more.
Yeah,
There's more.
come on, Jen.
In 2007, just before the financial crisis, there was $700 billion in home equity loans outstanding. Today, there is roughly $350 billion. Home prices have risen more than 70% since then. So why have home equity loans halved? Okay, guys, am I bonkers? Am I dense? But from a very, very low level, consumer level perspective, you guys tell me, isn't that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are $350 billion in outstanding loans versus $750 billion in outstanding loans. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. Why do you want to bring us back to that point again, to 2006, 2007?
It's going to benefit somebody. I'm sure she's going to read on and tell us.
Yeah,
100%.
come on, Jen.
All right, we'll get through, and then we're going to just unpack this sucker. After the financial crisis, banks have actively taken down their mortgage exposure. Yeah, because half of them collapsed. Bank of America, for example, has cut its equity loan portfolio from more than $150 billion in 2009 to $250 billion, 25 billion, excuse me. And in 2022, more than 50% of home loans originated from non-traditional operators. These non-bank companies don't have the balance sheets to hold loans as the banks had traditionally done. So unless they can sell the loans they originate to Freddie, its fellow housing agencies, Fannie Mae and Ginnie Mae, or private investors, they don't originate them. She goes on to say there is a robust and well-oiled mortgage-backed securities machine for first mortgages in which Fannie and Freddie and Ginnie buys mortgages, pools them, and sells them as mortgage-backed securities to private investors on the open market, facilitated by Wall Street firms. There you go. This process dramatically increases liquidity in the market. None of this liquidity exists in the second mortgage market. Huh.
To who?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
The Freddie Mac proposal could change all that, and it could not come at a better time.
At a better time?
Really?
I have no words. Like, I'm reading this, right?
Keep going, Jen.
I know this is hard to get through. I'm like, I can't even tell you. I'm like, as my grandmother would say, I'm spitting nickels right now. The Freddie Mac proposal could change all that, and it could not come at a better time. Most people in the U.S. Let's see. Did I ever read that? No. Most people in the U.S. are feeling the sting of persistent inflation, but older Americans living on fixed income have been hit particularly hard. Insurance costs for homeowners have risen well over 11% over 3 years, while they're paying more tax. U.S. property revenues have risen 26% over the last 3 years. This is, I guess so much to say. That is probably why seniors are taking on more debt than any other age group over the last 2 years. Okay, so let's get them more debt. Anyways,
exactly. Oh my God.
Today they hold 23% of all consumer debt, double their share in 1999. These trends have seemed counterintuitive as typically younger individuals and older individuals would be on either side of the bell curve. Total consumer debt outstanding with less debt. Let's see here. That goes on to say, prior to the financial crisis, this is how the balance of consumer debt was distributed. Now, almost half of all seniors are at risk in financial shock with less than 6 weeks of liquid savings. This means that if they face an unexpected medical expense, a sudden home repair, or a rapid increase in property taxes or insurance, they have no safety net. You can see where they're like, she's trying to justifying the heck
exactly
out of this thing. This vulnerability makes older adults a higher receptive audience to home equity loan products, provided they are reasonably priced and relatively easy to access.
You're giving candy to a baby. Okay.
Yep. The proposed Freddie Mac second home mortgage equity proposal, if implemented effectively, could be a lifeline to these households, offering them financial flexibility. It sets up guidelines, protect both borrower and Freddie Mac that are likely to be the template for future moves. Freddie will only buy second mortgages of borrowers that already have first mortgage with, yada, yada. The second mortgage cannot exceed 80% of the value. Thus, we can estimate Freddie will unlock $980 billion in equity for homeowners. If Fannie and Ginnie follow Freddie Mac's lead, we estimate the secondary home equity loan market could exceed $3 trillion.
Wow.
Let that sink in for a second.
Good God.
3 trillion. We're at, what did we say? 350 at the beginning, right? 350 billion.
Yep.
They want to ratchet it up to 3 trillion. By opening up the securitization market for second mortgages, not only would more institutions be inclined to originate the loans, but the costs to the borrowers would meaningfully decline with more financial providers. It would also provide big stimulus to an economy and consumer that appear to be slowing down without adding a dime to the government debt. That's really what it's all about. Rarely have I seen such a true win-win scenario for the government. Wall Street and the U.S. consumer.
No.
Yeah, no.
Holy
Wrong.
Holy heck.
No way.
No.
Okay. So if we roll, so what we're talking about here is we're talking about getting the American public, we're getting the American homeowner deeper in debt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Borrow. And then if these people are already financially strapped, I'm sorry, are there payments on these loans? Oh, wait, but yes. So they can't afford to pay their bills. So they're going to borrow against their equity to pay their bills, but then they've got to pay the equity. So they're going to use the equity money to pay the equity loan. And around and around and around we go. Financial crash 2.0.
Yes, absolutely. I think I said this before. I almost feel this is by design. They're trying to crash the housing market.
I swear.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I just can't even
Well, they're taking a page, in my opinion. Nobody, nothing against any individual who owns these types of things, but it's like when you go to like a loan shark, or you go to one of those stores where you put your car title on the line, right?
Yeah.
So you could borrow money. You're already strapped for cash. What does that do? It creates more debt for the person. Especially since they have a target market, as we read.
Yep.
Right. It's the older generation, the most vulnerable populations.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, the reality of it is like, they're framing it up to be, free. Well, the only person that it's free for is the government.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's the only way. The winner here is government and Wall Street.
That's what they
Period.
said.
The number of articles that, I mean, I'll bring up another one real quick that, let's see, which one is it that I couldn't just get over the fact that, I mean, because everybody's in cahoots.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely, Jen. Think about it. You know, like pull up the next article, because that one got me fired up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Give me 1 second.
This is just insanity.
Here it is.
So the author, okay, the fact that she's blatantly telling you exactly what the goal is, right?
Right.
For what they're doing. It is the primary goal here is to do what for the government? For us to do something for the government. Why?
Yep. Right.
Why?
Right.
It benefits who? It benefits them. It benefits Wall Street.
It doesn't help us.
Nope.
I mean, here's the thing is they're talking about, I mean, what's the number one reason, or I shouldn't say the number one reason. What is one of the contributing factors for things being so expensive right now? Inflation.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do we have, what's a contributing factor to inflation? Consumer spending. If one of the contributing factors for inflation is consumer spending, the more people spend, the more there's demand. The more demand, the more the prices go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how in the heck is this going to help inflation?
It's not.
How the heck is this going to help? It is not.
No.
So they think it's going to be like, oh, it's going to help no, it's not going to help. It's just going to fuel more money. We got into this inflationary problem because of all the free stimulus money during COVID.
Yep.
Right. And that's why they're calling it stimulus, because it'll sound like it's free money. So it's super, super sketchy because they're framing it like it's free and it's oh, it's going to be, it's going to make me feel like I have a lifeline. But all we're going to be doing is I mean, maybe I'm missing something super obvious. I just can't see it. Now, here's another article. This was from Fortune magazine. Fortune, I mean, it's a reputable magazine, news media, right? $3 trillion could be injected into the U.S. economy without any federal spending by tweaking its corner on the mortgage market. Oracle of Wall Street says.
I'm getting so sick of that name. Can I just tell you that?
I'm ready to throw up.
Oracle of Wall Street. Can we call her something else? I have a lot of names.
What I want to call her is not appropriate for this live stream.
Okay.
So it goes through and it's like basically the same thing of what we just read, but right down here in the article. Get this. I can't believe it. Such borrowing. I mean, I'm gonna get this. Here we go. This is just so important. I'm gonna get this nice and big so people can see it. This is so flipping important.
Let me see
Such
it.
borrowing can be used for things like vacations, weddings, new cars, investments, medical bills, paying down debt, or starting a business. In other words, it's more money that could power the economy.
Oh, stop. I can't.
What should you not use your home equity on? Vacations, weddings, new cars.
Exactly.
Like, that's so dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous. I mean,
I hate it because people look at how many people will eventually, if they haven't already seen this article, and think to themselves, I've got a child getting ready to get married, or I'm in a position where I'd love to be able to go on vacation. I'm retiring or whatever, and find this quite enticing. It's the language that's being utilized to me that feels sketchy.
100%.
Yep. Exactly.
100%.
I agree with you, Angie.
No, and it gets worse because some of the other articles, and I'll just pull it up real quick just so you guys can see the headlines and these are all from last week, okay, and which is just really, really sketchy. Money Watch, home equity levels rising. 3 reasons to tap in now. And they talk about, home equity loan rates are low, and average rate and so on and so forth. And, and it's all, counterintuitive with their information, because the thing is that, and the general public doesn't know this, which is why we do these live streams, right? Is to educate. The difference between a HELOC, and I go on through this in my videos, like, there's a HELOC and a personal loan, equity loan. The equity loan, fixed, great. They're talking about locking into low rates now because the rates could potentially go up, which is kind of hard to believe, because we've been hearing the rates are going to go down when the Fed, slashes the rate later in the year. Anyways, regardless, HELOCs are variable. So they're promoting HELOCs as a lifeline, use it like a credit card, but you never get a fixed rate on a HELOC.
No.
Right? So it's just misinformation, left and right. I warned you guys. I can't even tell you. Jackie, when was the last time you saw me this fired up? It's been a while.
It's been a long time. That's why I'm like, oh, we gotta get on this live stream. Jen's got to get out of her system here.
I'm so glad you ladies are here to keep me in check here, because left to my own devices. As they say down in Jersey, forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. Do I need to come up there and, sorry. Anyway.
This was literally May 17th, which was Friday. 3 reasons to use home equity before June.
June. So now you're telling us, oh my goodness, we can use this for vacation, weddings, whatever we want to. And also, let's add a little FOMO to the action and say, if you use it before June, you've got an added bonus. What?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. A little fear of missing out, right? Because people might be like, oh my gosh, should we be doing this?
Right.
And what's scary is, like, you have all these big media organizations that are all jumping on the bandwagon. Now, we know that, in our industry, when with the commission lawsuit and the whole 9 yards, we know what happens with the media when they get, intertwined with the government and misinformed. This is no different. This is no different. They're promoting misinformation. They don't even know that it's misinformation.
No.
And maybe they are, and maybe they're paid to do that. But that's another topic.
It's downright dangerous what they're doing.
Very dangerous.
Putting that information out there to get people excited about this. And more people better, thank God there's people like us that have this platform, and we can get this message out. But there's got to be other ways to get this message out to people. Don't do this.
No, don't do it. Ask all the questions. That's the one thing that they miss. They see these snippets, these clips, right? They're looking at these little micro clips from here, there, everywhere.
Yep.
Ask a lot of questions. If it doesn't make sense, it don't make sense. That's it.
No. And the thing that what you don't hear about is, you in these promotions for these home equity loans, you can get into a lower rate than a credit card. That's not untrue. Right. You can get into, if you get a loan that is a fixed rate, that could potentially protect you from future loan, from interest rate increases. That's true. However, if you get a personal loan, if you have a credit card loan, okay, question for you, lady. You guys are bright. You're smart. I know you'll know the answer to this. Can they foreclose on your house if you don't pay your credit card bills?
No.
No.
Nope.
Can they foreclose on your house if you don't pay your home equity?
Oh, yes, they can.
Listen.
So
this is nuts.
Listen, can I put my tinfoil hat on right now? I really think they're trying to crash the housing market. Because nothing else has worked. They're trying to reduce, bring down inflation, bring down the mortgage rates. Nothing's working. People are still buying like it's, whatever. They don't care what the interest rates are.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that's where my head goes all the time. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody in the government. I really think they're trying to crash the market. This whole thing.
I think they're trying to create more inventory also. I think that there's a long-term plan that they've already discussed behind the powers that be to be able to foreclose on these people's houses.
Exactly. That's it.
This stuff,
I didn't think about that.
Inventory
Yep.
into the market, and you've already got Wall Street buying up everything that they can. So
Yep.
I don't know. I think just a little bit deeper, one level deeper. I'm like, okay, what's going on behind here?
That's what they're trying to do. They're gonna, so my live stream tonight, I'm talking about the corporate investors are back buying homes again. They had an increase
All
in the
works
first
together,
quarter of
doesn't
this
it?
year. What?
It all works together.
It does. It
Yep.
does. So I'm glad that we're talking about this, because you know what? You're right, Angie. It's all leading back. It's all going back to Wall Street. These guys want to buy these houses up, and this is how they're going to do it.
Yep. And you know what happens, they take these loans, which, okay, so they do pad them, right? Home equity loans, you can only take 80% of the value of your house.
Right.
So they always pad 20%. Okay.
Yep.
Fine. What happens if the prices do adjust? I mean, you guys in Texas, some of you're feeling a little bit of a pinch. Florida's feeling a pinch.
Yep.
What if things go a little sideways? What if?
Yep.
What if they go a little sideways? I always say that the home equity money is not real. It's not real. It's not real because it's not something that is substantial. You can't hold on to it like you can. I go to the bank and I withdraw $100. Right. Got that. That's real. Nobody can take that $100 from me. Nobody.
Yep.
But that $100 that you borrow from a home equity loan, is it really $100 that you own? Not unless you sell the house.
Right.
Because you have hanging over you this threat of, what if all of a sudden now that value, what if that housing market collapses, which is what happened during the financial crash.
Yep.
Right. And now it's like, okay, so you still have the $100, but guess what? Now you're paying
now you owe some
11%, 12% interest until you pay that money back. Why do you have to pay back money that's yours?
To me,
why do you have to pay that back?
Nutty. It's a little bit nutty. If you're in a financial situation, because folks have a lot of equity in their homes across America, if you're really in financial hardship and you have to make the decision to sell your home, you're going to make out better selling your home in the open market and then getting the proceeds from that to be able to live off of or do whatever it is that you need to do afterward. This is a setup here. 100%.
Yep, a good point, Angie. This just brought back memories for me when back in like 06, even 05, I was involved with this parent group, and I remember some of the moms were stressing out about making their bills and all the things. And one mom had a kid going off to college, and they were talking about tapping into the equity, and they were taking out so much money in a HELOC. To pay all these things. It's bringing back, like, I remember, like, oh my God, why would you do that? I would never, that was not our thing, So,
but thank you, David, for a little super chat. I need to get one of those little super chat sound effects. I need to do something like that.
You need sound effects. Come on, Jen.
So we got a question by Hugh Nugent. Don't you think it's good to have a market crash? I don't know that here's the thing, define crash.
Yeah.
So is 20% a crash, 30% a crash, 40%? Like, what is, it depends on what the crash is. I think more accurately would be, I think we need a market adjustment.
Correct.
Yes. Correction. Yep.
We need a correction. So like every time, you look at the course of the last 50 years and a correction is always part of the process, right? There's growth and then there's a correction and then there's growth and then there's a correction. And we had the crash, well, because of financial backed securities. That sounds familiar. And in an overinflated market, partly because we started to have a correction in 01 and 9/11 happened. And then it shot through the roof. Like we were on the verge. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like we were just on the verge. Things were starting to correct. And then September 11th and boom. Right. Yep. So things went bonkers and, it was overinflated so that when the correction happened, it was like a correction that was making up for the correction that we didn't have. But having a correction is a natural flow to our market. And yes, I think it would be good and necessary. And this is why you don't borrow 80% of your home value. It's
No.
just not a good idea to do that. I just think it's dangerous. I think it's going to lead. And you know what? The thing is with this, this whole thing, like who's going to pay the penalty?
Well,
Not government.
Nope.
no.
We
Not
are.
government.
Yep. The American people.
And you know what's, and I think Angie, you said this earlier, the biggest culprits are going to be the people that they're preying on.
Yes. And folks don't know. They just don't
Nope.
know. They're trusting, and I love it because there's still a lot of trust in the human spirit, and that's great. But at the same time, the manipulation that is taking place, just again, in terms of language, throwing out those little terms like that, enticing people in ways that are kind of undercut, it's going to be the folks who are more vulnerable that suffer, right? That don't really understand what's really taking place. And it's going to lead to, you think we're unaffordable now. We're in the middle of a correction, which is needed. That's what's going to help create some more affordability. It may not look the same as years past, but what happens then when you have all these folks who don't have a home, a place to stay, because they went with this stimulus?
That's the thing is I don't really, I mean, the way that they're packaging this is, it's almost slimy.
I don't like it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost because people are going to think of, oh, stimulus, free money.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I don't have to, do I have to pay my stimulus check back that I got during COVID? No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, wait, this is free money. Oh, it's my own home equity. It's my money. I'm just using my money on the things that I want to spend it on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very shady. The whole thing is so shady. And the fact that these, like we just said before, these media outlets are just putting it out there like, isn't this great?
Yeah.
We're going to stimulate the economy.
Well, I mean, even the
I
phrase,
have no words for that.
the phrase they used of it's not going to cost the government a dime.
Right, not costing
It's
the
gonna cost
government
you.
money. Right, it's costing you. But is
Yeah.
that right? No, yeah, the government doesn't have to shell out any more money. We'll just take it from you.
No,
That's
I mean, it's just, I mean, I can't,
I know, Jen, you're on fire
I know.
today.
I'm like trying to not go off the deep end on this because there was I actually wanted to pull it up and I didn't. Please stand by. Please stand by. Okay, hold on. There we go. All right, I'm going to pull this article. I'm going to pull this up real quick because this is Meredith Whitney herself. And she's on CNBC, for crying out loud, and just her tone and how she talks about it and how, I mean, this is so impactful to the American people to, do you know what I'm saying? Like what we're talking about in terms of what people will believe and
Right.
when they hear it.
Mortgage reform that could inject nearly $2 trillion
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
into the U.S. economy. And that reform is Freddie Mac filing with the Federal Housing Finance Agency to enter the secondary mortgage market. Joining us now is Meredith Whitney, founder and CEO of Meredith Whitney Advisory Group. Again, Meredith, nobody else is talking about this and could be a really big deal. Just explain what this is all about.
Okay, I think this is potentially a massive game changer. So on the heels of what Leslie said, the banks have really pulled out of the consumer lending market, but for credit cards. And so in terms of mortgages, 70% of mortgages originated outside the banking sphere. And in terms of home equity, they've gotten out of it. So it's been a runoff product. What this does is, so the private markets, hedge funds have bought second mortgages, have bought home equity mortgages. They bought, jumbo mortgages. It stayed a relatively small, expensive product. So quietly filed on April 16th was this proposal you mentioned that would give Freddie the ability to enter into the second market.
Don't you think that quietly filed is a little bit nefarious?
A little bit. I like how she put that in there. They quietly filed.
Yeah.
Slid it right on in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second mortgage market. And they haven't been able to. This means that a liquidity will come into it. So how I get to the $1 trillion with Freddie is Freddie will only underwrite second mortgages for the mortgages they already have first mortgages with. Their LTV, their average LTV, but this is unpaid principal balance, is 52%. That means they could extend $1 trillion of equity quickly, cheaply, and in a
cheaply. Did you notice that? Extend it quickly and cheaply to someone, a single mom who's got kids, who's working multiple jobs, but happens to own a home, or you have the retiree, or maybe a spouse has passed away, and you're this the elderly person barely making ends meet, and now you're hearing that there's a way to quickly and easily and cheaply get money. I'm disgusted.
Fast fashion into consumer wallets. So consumers have had golden handcuffs. They're sitting on a lot of equity, 32 trillion in equity.
Okay, so just to be clear, the golden handcuffs that we've been talking about is not about sitting on equity.
It's not the equity. No, it's the interest rates.
It's about the interest rates. It's about not being able to sell because you lose that 2-3% interest rate. And when you go to buy something, you get a higher interest rate.
Yes.
That's what the golden handcuffs, they have nothing to do with equity. Has nothing to do with equity.
Nope.
That's wild.
And low rates. So they keep their low rate first mortgage, and they're able to get a lower cost personal debt.
It's a consumer loan, right?
It's a consumer loan, but like debt balance.
You see how she's stumbling over that? You see how she's stumbling over those words because she doesn't want to say it. She doesn't want to say debt consumer loan.
That's what it is, though. Personal loan, right? She mentioned
have been growing, but on an expensive way, because the borrowers have been the private markets. So they'll pay down their expensive debt and access this. So I think there's clearly demand for this product, and it will pump so much liquidity into the market that I think it's highly stimulative, potentially inflationary, and it will come about within the next month. So the comment period is and
You just said it right there. It's inflationary.
It's inflationary. So I'm sorry. So you're gonna pump a ton of money into consumers' hands to spend it in the open market, and that's not gonna. How is that not going to increase inflation?
I'm confused.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm telling you, there's a reason. This is a plan.
Yeah, they have a plan. I'm trying to always dig and find what's the next layer. It's not just the single layer. There's something beneath that, and then below that is another one.
Yep. David Manny says, I am tired of the word stimulus. I am as well. How come whenever there is some sort of stimulus, it comes back to hurt the very people it was designed to help?
Correct.
Amen.
Yep.
Correct.
100%.
You're right, David.
Hugh Nugent, do you think a correction will come nationwide in the future? Hard to say. I mean, I think that certain areas, and actually I have a video releasing on Wednesday about this. What areas, potentially could be affected. I think that I think there's a big question about depends, right? I mean, Jackie, you and I are up in the Northeast.
Yep.
The Northeast right now does not look anywhere in danger.
Nowhere near a correction.
Having a correction.
Nope.
Too strong.
Nope.
But our neighbors down
Tejas, South, we've actually started, that correction has begun. I'll give you an example of that.
It's a soft correction.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm in the Austin area. So, we were hot for many, many years, and now we're starting to make this big correction in our marketplace. And that's as of last week. We're starting to see numbers that we hadn't seen before in certain cities and city suburbs around us. So yes, it's going to happen nationwide. And I would say it's local. So depending on where you are, you got to look and see, okay, what is the market really like here for me where I live, and then dig into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is it's going to be Jackie, you actually said this, one of your recent videos, you said it's a tale of two markets.
Exactly.
And right, because, you're going to have some areas that are going to either they're like Angie, your area that's already started. There are other areas that will start, but then there's other areas that won't be affected, or they're going to start increasing. Like
an increase at the lower priced markets, right? The lower priced markets like Ohio and stuff, you're going to see those are going to now blow up, because that's probably one of the cheapest places to get a house right now. Right. So
absolutely. I was looking at the data on Illinois, and those areas, some of those cities are off the charts because it's one of the most affordable places in the country to live. And
Yep.
now people are seeing that, and the demand has grown, which pushes up prices. Let's see. Dave says, "Is this the person that predicted the senior tsunami and the single?" Yes, it is.
Yes, it is, Dave.
You got it.
So that's what we're working with.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Julie Thompson, how does this help inflation? We're supposed to be buying less, not giving people more money to cheap. Yes, yes, and yes, and yes,
Yes.
Julie.
Got it, Julie.
I mean, the big answer is it doesn't. It doesn't. But you know who it helps? The Wall Street and government.
It does. Wall
Yep.
Street government.
Consumers can go fend for themselves, apparently.
Mm.
Right.
David says, yeah, just what we need is more inflation.
Yeah.
He also, Jackie and Jen, do you have negative net migration too? Do you have more people leaving or entering your state? Actually, I feel like I've had more people entering.
No, we always have more people leaving.
Do you really?
Yeah. Well, we have a large boomer population, and those are the ones that they're hightailing it out of here. It's too. I mean, our taxes are out of control. But yeah, that we've been one of the top states for I don't know how many years now with the highest migration. It's between us, New York, California, Illinois. Yeah, we still are, but people are still buying. You know, the younger ones are still, the millennials are still wanting to buy and wanting to live here. But yeah, definitely the boomers they're out. Yeah.
Dave says that lady predicting a crash would be the same person predicting I would lose 100 pounds. I have a sound effect for that, and I don't remember where it is. Thank you, David. We need a laugh just then because this is just absolutely bonkers. I've got some questions that came in on my channels this week that kind of tie into this that I'd like to dig into. That I posted, all three of them actually came in on the HELOC video I did. And I'm like, oh, this is perfectly timed. So if that's okay, I'll bring those up.
Yeah.
And, we'll discuss. So this one came in from Japanese Cinema 6736. They say, I'm confused why you used a 20-year repayment period to make your point. Of course, the longer the loan, the more interest you will end up paying. But if you were to instead pay off that $10,000 with a 5-year term, it's not so bad. I don't understand the mindset of using a HELOC to pay for a vacation or to make improvements to your home and not expecting to begin paying off the HELOC as soon as possible. I have a fixed rate mortgage HELOC of 11.65%. It is working out great for me to help me consolidate debt. I only did an initial draw to cover our existing debt. Well, so to answer your question about why use a 20-year, I was looking at worst case scenario, of course, to illustrate the fact that a $10,000 draw, say, to go on a vacation over the course of a 20-year repayment would run you about $30,000 to illustrate the fact that it's a bad idea. And 100%, I mean, we were just talking about this earlier, ladies, like understanding the mindset behind using a HELOC to pay for vacation or make home improvements. Home improvements, you're improving your home value.
Mm-hmm.
I think home improvements is probably the one thing that I think home equity loan, providing you're doing the right home improvement. If you're improving your home value, you're moving that scale up.
Right.
I think that's just a wise money decision. That's an investment in your.
Well, that was the purpose of a home equity loan,
Yes.
wasn't it? To make improvements on your house.
That's
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Now people use it as an ATM.
Now people, and that is exactly what we're up on.
This is what they're doing
about
now.
Because people, they're like, it's free money. It's free money. It's not free money. It is not free money.
Nope.
Oh, it's cheaper than using your credit card. Well, I don't know about you guys. If you need to use a credit card to go on vacation, you need to not go on that vacation.
Exactly.
If you don't have the money, then and actually, you know what? I'm going to jump right to another comment that came in about that. Just to finish up on this though, this idea of using debt, HELOCs to cover existing debt, I can understand the concept, like if, because credit card interest rates right now are at like an all-time high. It's like, I think the average is like 23%. But I'm conflicted on that because I mean, I get the fact that, 23% and then you have your minimum payments. I mean, you're making interest only payments. You're never going to dig out of credit card debt doing it that way. I feel like the only way to do a HELOC to cover credit card debt is if you're on a very strict repayment plan with yourself to actually not just pay interest, but to pay that principal and get it paid down. What do you guys think about using, home equity to pay down, credit card debt? How do you guys feel about that?
Ideally, you would want to make sure I would not utilize it for credit card debt personally, but I understand why people do it.
Mm-hmm.
All of this takes discipline, right? You're basically moving money around to be able to take care of other things in your life. Either you're, like she said, consolidating to pay off things, or you're utilizing it for vacations. But when you think about it, I wouldn't personally use it because if you don't have, you shouldn't be spending money you don't have, period.
True.
You should be trying to snowball. That's a debt thing. So you got to think about yourself and who you are. Like, okay, what do I spend my money on? I've got to be strategic with the funds that I have, right? To be able to pay these things off. If you want to go on vacation, or let's say you're trying to pay off student loans, come up with a plan to do that. Use the snowball effect. There's so many different financial platforms that you could utilize that could help you get there, rather than using this to be able to pay off debt.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with you, but I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that sometimes that debt is not accrued willingly. So like somebody loses their job, somebody gets sick, and the only way to put food on the table, because maybe they didn't put away money for reserves. Maybe they blew through the reserves because they had serious chronic illness, right? Or a spouse died, or something like legit, right? And they accrued debt because of the situation the situation that they did not put themselves in willingly. I would say that, you know what I mean? Those types of things, like, a lot of people, it's a willing, they do it, vacations or, buy things they shouldn't buy. And that's something that you have control over, but then there are the situations that you don't have control over.
Right.
And, and sometimes when life happens, you take a step back and you go, oh my gosh. I mean, admittedly, I was in a similar type situation when the market crashed. Market crash, I was not adequately financially set up. I did not have reserves, right? That was a mistake on my part, but my husband had, got laid off. The real estate market crashed. So not only did we lose one income, but now we lost two incomes because I wasn't bringing any money in. And I found out I was pregnant with baby number 2. So trifecta.
Yeah.
Trifecta. So we lived, and, as I was desperately trying to make ends meet, and he was trying to get a part-time job, but then we had this baby, and oh my gosh, we can't afford daycare. It was cheaper for him to stay home than it would be to put her in daycare and him go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it was rough. And we had the credit cards, and did we get in over our head? Yes. We got out. Obviously we got out. Happy ending. But it was one of those things where it was like, this was not fun times in Disney. This was survival. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, I think every situation is unique, but to your point, like, if you can make do, I got a comment that I thought was like, oh yeah, this hit the nail on the head. If you don't have the cash, don't flash. I'm like, first, are you being,
that was my point.
Are you being inappropriate?
Go buy a car. Go buy a car. Go buy a water slide.
It's the old timers way. You don't flash anything. I have a 22-year-old, and that was the first thing I taught her when she was old enough to get a credit card. I said, you get this credit card. Yes, you need credit in our society. It's a sad fact, but it is what it is. If you ever want to buy a house, if you ever want to buy a car, if you want to finance anything, you need credit. You need positive credit, right? But I'm like, do not buy anything unless you can't pay it in cash on Saturday. Saturday, not next month. Every Saturday, pay that credit card in full. And now fast forward, she went through 4 years of college. She just has no credit card debt And was it a stretch? Yep. But did she become very frugal? Yep. A lot more frugal than her mom was.
Yep. No, that's good. I mean, you got to teach them that. Otherwise, you get out of control with it.
Yep.
Then we're in trouble.
100%.
Yeah.
This other comment is a long one. Ted Bale 3530. Wow. After all the pitfalls, potential pitfalls to a HELOC, I think your last piece of advice is best. Don't take out a HELOC. Wait until you afford. That's what I basically said at the end of the video. I'm like, if you can't do XYZ, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't take out a HELOC. Wait till you can afford what you want the money for. It just takes patience and self-control. Angie.
Discipline.
Even using the HELOC as an emergency fund is not a great idea. Okay. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, I'll read the rest of this in a second, but I just wanted to cut in there because I mentioned in the video that I have a HELOC for emergency fund. The reason I have it is because I'm a single mom and I'm 100% self-employed. I do have some medical stuff. God forbid. Now I have reserves. Like if the financial crash taught me anything, it was learn how to build up your reserves. I have reserves, but if something serious were to happen to me, those reserves aren't going to last forever. They're not going to last, if I'm think the worst case scenario, right? I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of. I want to make sure that life still continues, that we can provide for the bare minimum, right?
Right.
That's the safety net. Safety net is not, oh, we haven't had a vacation in a year. We need to go away.
Yeah.
No. Or we haven't gone out to dinner in a while.
Yeah. No.
Safety net is the proverbial, hits the fan and we have no food or we can't pay the mortgage or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the only, I got a HELOC that has no minimum payment, no monthly payment, no fees, costs me nothing. Just sits there. If I never use it, doesn't cost me a dime.
Right.
That's, to me, I mean, what do you guys think? As far as emergency funds?
I think in every case is different, right? Everybody's situation is different. So I think in that scenario, I don't think it's a bad idea just to have that safety net. But again, it's for the bare minimum, not to go out and take a vacation and to, go splurge, go on a spending spree because, why not? We deserve it. No.
Right.
I do think it is helpful in those situations. But you just got me thinking, like going back to the beginning of this whole thing, when they were talking about the seniors who were strapped, they're living, it's hard for them to make ends meet. They're going to be relying on that completely just to live. And that's scary because that's going to get them in trouble if they're not going to be able to pay that back. But in your situation, Jen, like you're smart about it, like it's only just for this and you're only going to use X amount of that HELOC. You're not going to use the entire thing, but just get me thinking about that. The seniors, like what if that's all they have now?
I know. Well, there are, and I'm going to read the rest of this, and then actually I want to talk about that. I'm going to make a note because I want to get your thoughts on reverse mortgages on that because I think that might be something than a better option than a HELOC or an equity fund.
Yeah.
Equity loan. He goes on to say, better to have a fully funded emergency fund in a savings account. I am 70 and lived my whole life without debt except mortgage. Good for you. And can definitely say it's better financially in the long run. Not a popular idea. Very true. Though, as there is a whole industry that encourages you to borrow stuff. Now, this is something that I live by, right? This is what he's going to say next. In a whole industry that encourages you to borrow money for stuff you can't afford, that you don't need, to impress people that don't care about you.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Yep.
Amen. Amen. I don't remember where I heard that from years and years and years ago. And it's like, don't borrow money that you can't afford for stuff that you don't need to impress people that you don't know.
Yep. Right. That's right.
Don't buy the Mercedes.
No.
Don't. Why? Because you want to look good going down the road like that in our industry. Like how many real estate agents drive Mercedes or BMWs
Yep.
and can't afford it?
Well, that's the problem. That's what I was talking about. Like doing it for things that don't matter. Those aren't things that matter, right?
Right.
It's stuff.
Stop.
Yep.
That's why I'm a Toyota fan.
Me
Why?
too.
Because they last for a long time. My 4Runner, my 4Runner had almost 300,000 miles. And I'm like, got to get rid of that. Got a Highlander.
I have a Highlander. What year do you have? I love my house. What do you got?
We share a brain, Jackie.
Yes, we share a brain, Jen. We say that all the time. I have a
Mine's
2015
green.
Highlander.
Mine's green. What kind do you have?
Listen, Toyota, if you're out there, Jackie and Jen would love to have sponsorship.
Toyota, if you're listening. I love my Highlander. I would love a hybrid. I would love the new RAV4 Prime. I test drove one with my dad. I'm like, oh my God, I want this car. I want a charger in my car, in my garage. My geek is all like, oh my God, the buttons. I love all the buttons. I love all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want a house. I don't want a car. I paid my car off. I worked my tail off to pay it off as quickly as I possibly can. And I haven't had a car payment in a long time.
Me too.
I have no intention of having a car payment. Now,
nice.
The first time I have a major issue, I'm going to knock on some wood right now. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Then I'll revisit it. But you know what? I will not lease. I will buy a car and then I will hold that one for as long as I possibly can.
Yep.
So it's and you know what? And let's be honest, you just take care of your stuff. You don't need expensive.
No.
Exactly.
I clean it and keep it in nice and all the stuff. And people are like, oh, did you get a new car? I'm like, no, it's 2017.
Yeah.
Let's take care of it.
Yep.
It says, and they make a lot. They make a lot of money. You said it yourself. Borrow 10 grand against your house, but cost you 30 grand to pay it back. Only winner is company that lent you the money.
Yep.
They can't lose.
Yeah.
Ties into what we're talking about today. If you don't pay, they take your house.
Yep.
This is what we're talking about today. And this is the scariest part of this whole conversation is the fact that this Freddie Mac stimulus plan has the potential to just, and Angie, like you got my brain ticking here in terms of like, the thought process behind this and the potential to get people into foreclosure. And the foreclosures, oh my goodness, all of a sudden we've got a whole bunch of foreclosures. Oh, well, that'll add sale units
Yeah. Well,
to the housing market.
I don't know. That's my instinct about it. Of course, we don't know what they do underground. But it's not just about the surface level that they're giving us, which is we're here to help you, but it's you who are helping you. We're just letting you borrow your money, but then charging you for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just looks like a really vulnerable place. I understand medical bills. There's always going to be an emergency and you do need to have a plan for that.
Yep.
Right.
But if this is beyond that though, the emergency plan, then you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it.
Nope. No, but them putting that out in the article, people can go on vacations. It'll pay for weddings. They're putting that thought into people's minds. Oh,
are you guys
look.
flashing back to 04? Are you flashing back to 03, 04, 05 when that's people? I mean, this was all over the news. People using their homes as ATMs.
Yes. I remember my neighbors doing that too. I forget how much money they took it. They were proud of it.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, and they went on vacation. They did some things in their house. They did some renovations, but it was like $50,000-$60,000 they took out. And they're like, let's just,
They repackaged it.
It's fine.
Now they repackaged it.
What do you guys think about the reverse mortgage where, for the viewers, like reverse mortgage is essentially for 62 and over. And basically the seniors have to qualify. You have to qualify for a certain level of to determine the amount of money that you can pull out. They look at your home and how much equity you have and the whole 9 yards. But essentially, it's like a reverse equity loan where they'll take your equity and then they just send you a monthly check, and you don't have to pay it back. You don't have to make any payments on it at all unless you move or sell the house. Right. But if you're in the house that you're going to be in the rest of your life, then when you sell, it becomes your heirs' problem. And I'll tell you, I mean, I know of people that have done that, and it can be a good thing, but it can be so dangerous because markets shift. Okay. Yep. I know someone that did the reverse mortgage when the market was crazy high, and they actually worked with a reverse mortgage company that was a little unscrupulous. And now they've got outstanding loans on this property that are, so they're like, oh, can we get $1 million? Can we get 800,000 for our house? And I'm like, no, 500 max.
That's rough.
That's rough.
It's sad.
Yep.
And criminal. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are like, no reverse mortgage. No. It's because there are so many predatory lenders.
Yep.
But I think if you do it and you know what you're going into, you're working with somebody that can advise you. I think there's a good potential for it. Like, I'd rather see a senior get into a reverse mortgage than take out an equity loan.
Exactly. But then
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I see the point there. Yeah. If you take a home equity loan, they're risking losing the house. How are they going to pay that back? But the reverse mortgage, it makes sense. But then when they're gone, who's that falling on?
Well, yes.
Right.
So my tip for that, and I say this to folks all the time that I work with, is don't just be stuck with one professional lender, whomever it is. It could be lending or whomever, inspector. You need to be consulting because it's your choice, multiple lenders, so that you can hear from 3 different sources as to what are the pros and cons of utilizing a type of loan. That's going to be important. Don't trust Uncle Bob's sister's friend who says that he does these all the time.
No.
And that's the problem is I think, our the senior population, they want to be trusting. And they're very, very easily influenced. A lot of them are easily influenced, right? Easily influenced. And it's sad.
Yep.
It's sad. It's almost like they need a cosigner or something. Or you know what I'm saying? Like someone that is going to like sign off by an attorney.
Yep.
An attorney review. You have this mortgage, you have this reverse mortgage, and the only way you can get this reverse mortgage is if you have an attorney that is willing to review that on your behalf. Now they're on the hook for reviewing this document, advising their client.
Yep. I agree with that. I think that should become a requirement, but it won't happen.
And then you've got these they fast talk them, they do really quickly. They throw out these terms and then there's no full understanding, that's an issue and they get baited in.
It's a shame. It
is a shame. And, but you know what, ladies, one live stream at a time.
It's true. No, it's true though.
One live stream at a time. We're gonna change the world.
We are going to change the world. Jen, are you feeling better now? I just want to know.
I'm much more calm now. Can you tell?
Have we brought it
blood
down?
has left my ears still feel a little red. Red my ears. I'm like, ah!
Well, we're glad you got it out of your system.
You guys are so calm. You're good for me. You guys are very good for me. So first off, I want to shout out little shout out to
my goodness,
to my friend Angie.
Hey, Angie.
If anybody's looking for property deep in the heart of Texas,
oh come on,
you look up our friend Angie because she's gonna take good care of y'all and tell you where all the good barbecue places are.
You want to eat, y'all. You gonna want to eat.
Hey, do you know Salada River.
Salado River. What's that?
Yeah,
Come on, is there a place I don't know?
hold on, stand by. It's my brother, because I'm going down there in a couple weeks to visit my brother down in
Yes.
Salado Creek.
Salado Creek? That's north of me.
Okay, so yeah, they're in Gerald, but he sent me pictures, and y'all, that looks nice. They got like a little beer garden and live music and stuff right next to the creek. Kids are tubing and stuff. I'm like, oh, they don't have that here. But I mean, it's like 50 flipping degrees.
We also have the heat that you don't have, so remember that part.
True that. And then my friend Jackie. Jackie Baker. Jackie Baker is the best face in New Jersey.
Hey.
Yeah, look at that. Look, speaking of faces, look at that.
Down the dirty Jers.
Down the dirty Jers.
Down there.
Yep.
Everybody. So if you're looking in the Jersey area, you gotta look up Jackie.
Yep.
And she'll take good care of you. And of course, Jackie.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
We gotta do shameless plug now.
Shameless plug.
Gotta do shameless plug. Hold on. Oh my God, my fingers don't want to work.
Come on, Jen.
I know. Bear with. I'm all disheveled.
There we go. There it is.
So if y'all wanna have a few laughs, check out our podcast. So Jackie and I do one weekly, right?
Yes,
it's weekly. And Jackie scoops up these unbelievably surreal podcast, Reddit stories that you kind of just shake my head, and then we dissect them, and we have some laughs, and it's a lot of fun. But hopefully we throw in some value too. So if you're into podcasts, that's your thing. Look on the YouTube channel. All the podcast links, all the major podcast providers are on that.
Love it.
So
it's so good. They're funny, y'all.
Check it out. And enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Anyhow, you guys got anything to add before we sign off?
No, this is a good one, Jen. Thanks for having me on, and Angie on this. This was fun. I'm going to do this again. This is good.
I really appreciate you guys
here. This is good.
I really appreciate you guys jumping in on this and just kind of chiming in, because it's invaluable. Your opinions are invaluable to me. So it's helped to it's easy to get. Or it's good to get different points of view and bounce it off of different parts of the industry and all the things, right? Everybody's viewpoint is different. So
I love it.
Yep.
But you know what we gotta do now?
What we gotta do?
You know what we gotta do? We gotta dance it out.
Yeah, dance it out.
We gotta dance it out, because this is like, you know what the name of the song?
What is this?
Something's funky here.
That's what the news feels like.
And that's what the news feels like today.
It's fitting.
100%. So thank you all for joining us on this live stream. Appreciate you all. Thank you for all the comments. Stay tuned. Coming next week. Next week will be a regular time, 5 p.m. Join us. And we'll see what other spicy news we'll be serving up then. Till then, be safe, be kind, do something nice for your neighbor, and have a great week. Ciao.
Bye.
All right, ladies, dance it out.